What's up, everyone? Onorato and Miller, week 12 of the NFL. We've got our picks. College football playoff is fast approaching. We've got a couple of games, two games that are really marquee, but some that fly under the radar that I think are sneaky in terms of how this playoff will shake out and shape by the time we get to the middle of December. And we have breaking news. MVPs have been announced in Major League Baseball. Tye Kurtz from the Albany FireWolves will join us as well. Let's go.
This is Onorato and Miller, sponsored by Alpen House.
Alpen House, Marcella's, Bev's, Novice, and Performance Industrial supporting the show each and every single week. We start with breaking news. Ash, it has just been announced as we do the show live on a Thursday night that Aaron Judge has won the AL MVP unanimously. Not a surprise, but it puts him in some very exclusive company.
Yes, only the second Yankee to do so, to win it unanimously. The other, my favorite,
Mickey Mantle.
Mickey Mantle.
Okay.
The reason I wore 7, playing center field.
Isn't it weird how,
people attached to, I never saw
player
the guy
you
play.
never saw play?
No, but my dad had always said, it was his favorite Yankee, one of his favorite players to watch. So it became, I just liked it because of that. I liked the number 7. So that was my thing.
Yeah. Okay. So no surprise on Judge. Ohtani, the MVP in the National League. No surprise for him either. Tarek Skubal was unanimous in the American League for Cy Young. Chris Sale got 26 of the 30 votes. Say again?
Pretty great. Get for the Braves, number 1.
Yeah.
For him to go to the Braves and have the season that he did, but also to kind of resurrect his career the way he has. A guy that has had some serious injury issues, long stretches in and out of the lineup when he was in Boston. Amazing the season he had.
I was surprised it was his first Cy Young. I would have thought at some time with the White Sox he got one early on, but he didn't. And he should have gotten all 30 votes, and he didn't. But Judge, Ohtani, Skubal go unanimous. Pretty impressive.
Yeah, very.
Does any of this matter to you?
Oh,
no.
I thought you were going to say, does any of it surprise me? I guess both answers would be no.
It always feels like when after the season's over and you're the Yankees and you get to the World Series and you didn't win the World Series and then you get this award, which is a regular season award, you think, we knew it was coming. What does it really matter? I
wish they would just announce it after the regular season.
I'm with you.
Because the postseason that Aaron Judge had was horrific. And it just is kind of now you're okay, but who cares? Because now you've taken some of the shine off of it because he played so poorly in the postseason.
And I think I agree with you, but I'll play the devil's advocate here. We have seen Heisman Trophy winners get the award and then have a dud of a bowl game. And in many cases, in some cases, a dud of a national championship game. And then the conversation switches to, should he have been the Heisman? Yes, the Heisman Trophy, again, is a regular season award given to the best player in college football. It's not an MVP award. So, yes, if Judge were named MVP and unanimous MVP right before the playoffs, and then he had all the struggles he had in the postseason, that's all anybody would have been talking about was look at the MVP.
Well,
maybe they were saying that anyway.
And that's
we knew it was coming.
Yeah, you knew it was coming. So I always think what's the difference? Let's just rip off the Band-Aid, name it, and then let people move on.
That's going to be a tough one for him to overcome.
Yeah.
This stigma of, and I don't know, is it a stigma? It's a fact.
Yeah.
It's what A-Rod faced
up
forever too, right? The regular season numbers were always phenomenal. He won multiple MVPs, and until that series against the Twins in 2009, he was the Yankee that just couldn't get it done. And it didn't help that he was playing alongside Mr. Clutch himself and Derek Jeter. But for Judge, that cloud is going to hang over him. And if they aren't able to re-sign Juan Soto, the pressure only becomes greater on Judge to deliver. It's going to be a really interesting winter.
Then he has to carry the team.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, if Soto leaves, who are you signing to
replace or try to replace.
You know what would be interesting is if the Mets, we'll get to this, if the Mets signed Soto and the Yankees signed Pete Alonso. That'd be kind of interesting.
Do a little swapperoo.
Sam says no surprise on the postseason awards. Yeah, I agree. All right, let's get into the college football playoff rankings here, right? We usually don't do a ton of college right off the jump, and we've got NFL news to get to here as well. But quick rundown of what the rankings look like here. No change in the top 5. Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana. All the same from last week. Notre Dame moves up. Alabama moves up. Miami, Ole Miss. Georgia's in. Remember, they were out last week. Tennessee drops back. Boise State is in. So you got a couple of teams that are new to this thing, and it feels like they fit. What will get weird is when we determine these first round buys with conference champions. So like, SMU not pictured is 13. SMU wins the ACC. Guess what? They are top 4 seed.
Yeah,
they'll be the 4th seed. Same with Miami here at 8, but if they win the ACC, they will be a top 4 seed. So I think ultimately, Ash, the college football playoff is going to change. Well, we get one more year of exactly this in 2026. My guess is we will no longer value the conference championship game winners in terms of first round buys.
Yeah. And
it's just going to be the top 4 teams.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't know that you need to set, and that's my feeling is kind of like, well, just because they win the ACC, does that mean they deserve to be a top 4 seed? Probably not. And I think that would be a good change if they were to make that. It feels a little generous if that were to happen. If one of those scenarios were to play out, which it will, because anyone who wins the ACC probably is not going to be a top 4 team necessarily.
Yeah. Jeff says, here comes Alabama.
Here they come.
Yeah, we'll see, right? Like, here comes the SEC is what I'm thinking when I look at this.
Is
right?
that ever like a here they come? They're always there. They're always there, and they're always good, even when they're not good.
Yes, but in
good.
the 4-team playoff, you got 2 in at most, right? Like in 12, you might get 5 in, which I guess still isn't as large a percentage as 2 of 4. But it's you've just got
a bigger field.
More.
It's pretty good.
Right. It's not the same percentage, right? It's less than 50%, but it still feels like you've got to contend with Texas, Bama, Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee.
It's wild. It's wild.
And a lot of these teams are better off not playing in the SEC championship game, like the Georgias and Tennessees here.
Time.
Like, hey, we don't.
We'll take the week.
Not only that, but not the risk of
Injury.
Another loss.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Suffering another loss here. Georgia's got 2. Tennessee's got 2. Yeah. Ole Miss has. So I don't want to play in that game. I'm already in. I'm good. Let me just win my easy ones the rest of the way here. You should see some of these games that the SEC teams are playing this week. Ridiculous. Let me play the easy ones.
Late in the season is so bizarre.
Right. And let me get in as an 8 through 12 seed. I'm cool. Just want to be part of the party. And I'm good enough to go on a little bit of a run to win this thing is kind of the way I'm seeing it right now. Sam says Big 12, no buy right now. Big 10, SEC, ACC,
Big 12.
Big 12. What am I missing?
Yeah. I think you're right.
And then the top team in the group of 5 gets in.
Right, but doesn't get a bye.
Correct. Okay. All right. Melissa's watching. We love that.
Hi, Melissa.
Thank you, Melissa. Brian's watching as well. Let's go Bills. Have a big win for the Bills last week.
Huge win for the Bills.
But is it because
Yeah.
I think they've won?
The Chiefs were unbeaten.
Yeah.
It's a big win for the Bills.
Okay.
Got to do it in the postseason.
That's
a big win for the Bills.
That's the only time it'll be big. The Bills have won, I think, the last 4 regular season games against the Chiefs. Can't beat them in the playoffs. Yeah. So until you beat them in January or February, it matters because you want home field advantage. I'm not going to diminish the win completely, but man, I need to see it when it really matters the most, right? That's kind of where we all are. First two games are big here.
Awesome.
Indiana, Ohio State, noon kick. Boy, that should be an 8:00 game at night, but it's the way TV contracts work, people. Fox has Big Ten. This is the way it goes.
I'm so excited because I just think we'll know, is Indiana for real or not? Because they haven't played anybody super significant outside of Washington, and that's not really, I think this is, are you a contender or are you a pretender? And I think probably the same is going to be said for Army. If Notre Dame mops the floor with them, I don't think it's going to be, wow, Notre Dame's getting better. They're a better team than we thought. I think it's going to be Army isn't as good as we thought. And I feel like that's kind of how it works with Notre Dame. They don't get as much credit probably as they deserve, but hey, whatever.
Yeah.
Just keep winning.
Yeah. I mean, everybody was high on Navy. Notre Dame obliterated them. People are high on what Army is able to do. This is a 14.5-point spread in Notre Dame's favor. I think the Irish cover. And Ohio State's favored by 12.5. And my guess is the Buckeyes cover. And you know I love me some Indiana right now. And just because it's fun, it's new, it's different. Signetti makes it fun.
And I think maybe Indiana covers, but only because of the game Ohio State and Penn State played. It was kind of low scoring, not a ton of offense. Maybe they do all right.
I know.
I hope so. Indiana's a team I can get behind.
Yeah, me too. It feels like Ohio State has another gear that the Buckeyes have not reached yet. I don't know why they're struggling to run the ball the way they are this year. It feels like there's a big game coming from Ohio State. I don't know if it's this weekend or not, but there's one coming. I can tell. This is a sneaky one here. Okay, everybody's high on Colorado, and I've said weeks ago I want them in the college football playoff. It would be good for the sport. And people who say, no, I want them out because I hate Deion Sanders. No, you want them in because you hate Deion Sanders.
That's the best reason to
people
have them in.
Watch to root for and against. So I want Colorado to win this game. Kansas is a good team. And they've underachieved this year, but they were ranked in the preseason. Jalen Daniels got injured. And so the Jayhawks struggled for a little bit. But they are a dangerous team. And I think they're playing this game at Arrowhead, actually. So that's interesting. Dangerous team, Kansas. So watch out, Colorado. That one will be fun. And then BYU just suffered its first loss to Kansas. And Arizona State only has 2 losses. So those 2 games at the bottom of your screen, big for the Big 12 standings and conference championship game coming up. And all right, this is like the conversation now. So I'm glad Jeff asked it. If Indiana loses a close game, does that confirm they belong or do they fall out of the top 12?
Close game, no, they belong.
Okay, and what's close? Under
Touchdown.
10?
Yeah.
It's got to be a touchdown.
I think a touchdown.
Okay.
Within a touchdown. 10 becomes a little much, especially if it's a low-scoring game. Like if you're talking, 23-13 or something like that.
And it matters when that, if Ohio State's up, 16-13, and then they get a late touchdown, okay, that looks bigger than it was.
Yeah. I think a close loss because it's Ohio State. I mean, obviously it's a top 5 team in the country, but it's also Ohio State. It's not like it would be a random, like they're losing to the equivalent of Indiana, like a Washington sneaks in or somebody else sneaks in. It's Ohio State. It's the Ohio State. I think it means a lot to get close. I
think this is funny. Get Indiana out there. And, is this...
They're not going to fall out of the top 12 if they lose a close game.
So I would ask him, like, is there Indiana hate somewhere in his life? Or is this just more like, hey, I want the blue bloods in, right? The way I feel anyway, about when we get to the Final Four. All the upsets are fun in the first 2 rounds of the NCAA basketball tournament. But when we get to the Final Four, I want the heavyweights, the teams with the 5-star recruits, the teams with the NBA talented players. That's who I want to see on the biggest stage. So I wonder, is this like an Indiana hate thing for some reason, or they're not that good, new kid on the block, don't really want to deal with it. And he's right here too. BYU has lived dangerously. What was the game we were watching here late on a Saturday night?
Oh, when they pulled it out at 2 a.m. or 1:30 in the morning.
And
I forget.
They have lived dangerously.
Yeah. And it finally got
BYU
them.
Has. And it's exactly right.
I think if Indiana goes out and knocks off Ohio State, then, nobody is going to say anything about he's going to earn even more of an extension than the 8 years he just got.
Gosh,
Hey, well, extend him for forever. He can stay forever.
Crazy how quickly they give head coaches.
Well, I mean, look what he's done, though. And I understand you're going to prove if you belong with that level, but they're already a much better football team. They're a much better football team. And who's been talking about Indiana football ever?
They were in the running for
Other than the
a
Colts.
5-star quarterback recruit who just committed to Deion and Colorado.
Yeah.
Indiana was in the mix for that, which will tell you a lot. All right, we've got more college football to do on the show later. We've got our NFL picks, and we have news from the week in the NFL regarding New York or New Jersey quarterbacks. Back in a minute.
Fall in love with camping all over again with a new RV from Alpenhaus. As our attention turns to changing leaves and tailgate parties, be sure to stop by Alpenhaus to find the perfect RV for your fall camping trips. You'll love this Coachman Catalina for only $131 a month. And check out this Keystone Cougar Sport for only $358 a month. Whether you're snowbirds heading south or leaf peeping through New England, our outfitters will make sure you have everything you need for your autumn adventure. Shop online at alpenhausrv.com or come see us in Amsterdam and Saratoga.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on. For cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair, you can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus. And now, Dirty, Difficult, and Done. Sponsored by Performance Industrial.
Our guy Bill Miller, his team at Performance Industrial. There's never a job that's too dirty or too difficult for them to get it done. Here is a certainty.
Speaking of done.
Go ahead. Yep.
Speaking of done, my quarterback is done. This has been a long time coming for me. You know, I've never been on the Daniel Jones train. I hated the pick when he went 6th overall in 2019, which I'm not sure if that feels like an eternity ago.
It does.
Or just a short time ago. It's hard to believe that he's been a starter for most of 6 seasons at this point.
Anytime somebody references a year prior to COVID now, I think to myself, oh my gosh, it was that long ago?
Yeah, I guess it feels long ago.
19.
Essentially, his time is done. I mean, he's emotional at a press conference today, which I guess is that Thursday if we're watching on the weekend. Like gets a little choked up, teary. His time is obviously done. I mean, they're not going to let him play the rest of the year because of the injury clause that he has in his contract. If he gets hurt, the Giants owe him $23 million next year. And that would shoot themselves in the foot. So you don't let him play the rest of the year, and he's going bye-bye fairly soon. I mean, he could ask for his release if he really thinks he's going to like jump on with another team. I'm not sure what team that would do any sort of something is going to take him at this point in the season. But yeah, he will be a starter for a bad team or a backup for a good team sometime in the near future.
So you think he could be a starter next year?
For a bad team.
Like the Raiders?
Yep. Who will take a shot on him because
As they
he
groom
wants
the
to
next
be
guy?
Because he wants to be a starter and will probably sign with anyone to get the chance to be a starter instead of going to say, and I know they don't need one, but like going to back up Brock Purdy in San Francisco or something like that. My guess is he's all in on a starting job somewhere bad as opposed to a backup job somewhere good.
That's where the money is, right? And your opportunity to prove that you can play at the starter level. You just kind of detailed there, like how will Daniel Jones' time with the Giants be remembered? I'm going to remember it as
not well.
A series of missteps, right? We can criticize the pick, but the Giants wouldn't be the first team in NFL history to get the quarterback pick wrong.
Oh.
It's the ability to move on from that pick. Like the Cardinals knew they got it wrong with Josh Rosen. What did they do? They cut him and they drafted Kyler Murray 1 overall.
They also thought they got it wrong with Kyler Murray until he came back and was all of a sudden it was like, oh, just kidding. We're not going to get rid of him. So
yeah, maybe. I mean, they gave him a contract extension because he showed enough. Like he had earned that contract extension. Daniel Jones, I don't know, had earned a contract. It became fear of the unknown for the Giants.
Yeah, they gave him a bad contract.
He got us to the playoffs. We got our first playoff win since 2011.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people can argue it was Saquon Barkley and not Jones, and that's fine. But Jones had a nice year, and he played well in Minnesota that playoff game. And it became the fear of the unknown. If we don't keep him, then what? As opposed to if we keep him, are we really doing what's in the best interest of the franchise? Now, what about the fates of Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen? Are they sealed for you? Are they back next year?
They're back.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're going to let those guys draft the next quarterback?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to let those guys prove to me that they know how to draft a quarterback or they don't, and not inherit someone else's.
I like them both
mistake.
too.
Yeah.
I really do. And look, we have to remember Saquon Barkley is not on this team this year. And I don't think it's all Daniel Jones' fault.
And he's playing like the best running back in the NFL.
But I do want to give Daboll and Shane an opportunity. I'm with you there that, like, let's see.
Listen, I think they're a package deal in a lot of ways.
For sure. But one will, if one's fired, the other one's going to.
Yeah, I think I would give Shane a longer leash than I would give Brian Daboll.
Okay.
Just because I don't always love his personality. So sometimes I'm like, okay, if the team isn't any good and you're just kind of
jerk.
Nah,
yeah,
then see you, bye-bye. Shane tends to be like a likable, rational, well-spoken human being who doesn't get cranky.
Speaking of done, Woody Johnson, the Jets owner, is done with Aaron Rodgers.
And Joe Douglas.
Well, Douglas for sure. So Salah's gone. Joe Douglas, the general manager, is gone. And after this year, Aaron Rodgers will be gone. He turns 41 in December. There's just no way.
Who's taking another chance on him?
Somebody.
1 year contract?
Yeah. Yep. But if you're Rodgers, do you want to do that? Do you feel like the failed experiment with the Jets and the potential of another failed experiment tarnishes the legacy, a word we use too much?
Yeah.
Does it tarnish it too much here?
I think if you've already had one failed experiment, then you take the risk on another. Because if you end it now, you know that you're the end of your career. There's always this kind of whatever.
Yep.
So what's the difference between 1 and 2? Like for me, it's kind of like it ends poorly no matter what. I think the thought of ending it now is like, well, now I know if I end it now, it's bad with the Jets. If I take another shot and it's bad with someone else, who cares? It's bad with the Jets or somebody else.
Guess, right?
But it could be good or decent.
Who could it be good with? Where would Aaron Rodgers fit?
I mean, had they not gotten rid of Amari Cooper, I would have said like, hey, send somebody to the Browns. Like that's a team that could have pieces and has, I think, a decent head coach in Stefanski. A team like that.
Yeah. I mean, boy.
The Steelers.
They'll stick with Ross, won't they?
I guess, year? But it's only his contract is 1 year, right?
Yep.
So they have Fields beyond that, but Russell.
Fields 1 year too.
Oh.
It's going to be Steelers have a decision to make.
Okay.
I keep coming back
Miami
to,
if Tua wasn't going to be.
Here's the issue. Like, I don't think any NFL franchise is going to view Aaron Rodgers as a good mentor.
No.
For a rookie quarterback.
No.
So if a team is in need of a quarterback, how many teams are out there that say we are just a quarterback away from being really good? I don't know that team is out there. The bad teams are bad in a lot of respects.
Yeah.
Not just the quarterback position. But again, I just think this is an interesting thing. Brady, part of the ownership group in Vegas. Rodgers, there was all the rumor of when he was in Green Bay that he really wanted to go to like Denver or to the West Coast because it was closer. Vegas, Rodgers to Vegas. Brady helps get him there. And then what?
And then draft some people?
I don't know. I don't know.
There's no Devontae Adams anymore out there. Like, who's he throwing to?
Yeah, I don't know. And Sam's right. Woody is now reinserted himself into being more involved with this team again. And at 77 years old, it's just not going well. It feels like it will be. It'll be a complete overhaul.
What a disaster.
You're not kidding. All right, let's get to our NFL picks next here on Onorato and Miller for Week 12. We'll back.
See how the experiment went. The underdog experiment.
Yeah, I think it did okay.
Yeah.
And Tye Kurtz from the Albany FireWolves still to come. The National Lacrosse League opens its season November 30th, and Albany is at home at MVP Arena. We'll talk with one of their stars, Tye Kurtz, coming up as well. Back in a minute.
I'm Jeff Ukelek. I'm owner of Bev's, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in, like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bev's. At the end of the day, if you walk in your stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
The great thing about Novice is no matter who you are, they're going to put all the detail in the world into your brand. I feel like they have been a big part of my success, making me feel comfortable. This is Harrison Butker, Super Bowl champion kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Claim your crown.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alphen House.
Shout out to all our sponsors here on the show: Alphen House, Marcella's, Bev's, Novice, and Performance Industrial. Here are the picks from last week in week 11. And Ash had a strategy here. You were doing what?
It was more of an experiment.
Okay.
I'm not sure a strategy, but it was a week that I felt fairly confident in the underdog to be able to cover. So I thought, all right, well, I'm going to go all underdog. I'm going to pick of the 5 games we were picking, not all the rest.
Yeah.
I picked all the underdogs. Wasn't so bad.
Yeah, I think it did okay here. I've got you at 3-2. Is that right?
I don't know.
And you at 1. Okay.
I can't remember.
Let's do the math then. Pittsburgh, yes. Chicago, yes.
Because the Chiefs were a no.
And Cincinnati didn't cover. Maybe you were 2 and 3.
Oh, geez.
Because Washington didn't cover either.
Oh, geez.
So yeah, I think you were 2 and 3 and not 3 and 2.
No.
So that would put me a game behind you here. I was a dreadful 1 and 4, thanks to the Bills for doing me a solid and getting me the 1 win I had last week.
Yeah, I did not pick the Bills.
We're moving on here. Bucks and Giants. Big Blue goes to Tommy Cutlets. I'm all in. Let's go. Infusion of a new starter. He's a little more energetic, bigger personality. Who the heck? Probably not, because Tampa's not a bad team. And Tampa sees a road to the NFC South title. Now, it's not an easy one, but they have a very easy schedule. They've put themselves essentially 3 games behind the Falcons because they're 2 behind in the standings, and then they lost both meetings to Atlanta this year. So, right, head-heads, thank you. So, but Tampa can get there because the schedule's so easy. It would have to start here with New York, but I'm going to ride the Tommy Cutlets train.
I love it. I mean, listen, it's going to give the Giants something to cheer for without being too nervous that they're going to win games. So that's why I'm going to say they put Tommy. They didn't go to Drew Lock. They went to Tommy Cutlets because they don't want to win games. They want to give the fans something to cheer about, which strangely enough, this does it for them because he's Mr. New Jersey and all of the things. So good. We'll have something to cheer for with Tommy Cutlets. He won't win us games. It's at Giants Stadium. It'll be more fun than it would have otherwise been. And the Bucs will win.
Yeah, Tampa's got a chance here to rip off some wins. Look, I think the Giants know Drew Lock is not going to be on our team next year. Will Tommy DeVito be on the team?
Right.
So
I mean, he'll be the backup.
Maybe. So let's give him a run, right? I mean, they're going to draft a quarterback in the top 5 or wherever they pick, and then they're going to have to look at the backup situation. Do we need a proven vet, or is DeVito our guy? We'll see. Niners and Packers. Here's the deal. Diehard Packers fan. They're not very good, and they can never beat the 49ers. Now, Brock Purdy, we don't know about. So, again, we're doing the show on a Thursday night. If Purdy doesn't play because of the shoulder injury, it changes almost everything. Right? Bosa left last week's game. If he doesn't play, that changes a lot as well. There's a lot of unknown here, but I'm going on the side of history that the Packers just cannot beat the 49ers.
Yeah, I'm with you. I just think they're a better team right now. They're starting to get healthy.
They
They've
just
got,
lost to Seattle.
I know, Christian McCaffrey back, but maybe it just takes a hot minute.
Okay.
And it's not that like the Packers have been good.
No, they're terrible. Love. How about this? Who would have had this at the beginning of the year? That through 11 weeks. No, you're going to put your hand down in a second. I'm telling you right now. That through 11 weeks, the quarterbacks with the most interceptions in the NFL would be Jordan Love and Patrick Mahomes. They each have 11.
Okay.
Who would have?
Listen, Jordan Love. That doesn't blow. The Jordan Love thing doesn't blow my mind. I'm the one who said you shouldn't pay him $50 million. That I was on that bandwagon.
But look,
you're one season
that.
in.
What was the alternative?
I'm not saying there was one, but that's what I'm telling you. I'm not surprised that he has a ton of interceptions. Mahomes, a little more surprised, but he's a little more of like a freewheeling, risk-taking kind of guy. So I know. But that's what I'm saying. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but everybody says Love has a little more Favre in him than Rodgers.
Rodgers is a little bit like that too.
Well, this year, but look, I mean, the career interception numbers for Rodgers are so far down.
Yep.
Cardinals and Seahawks were both on Arizona here.
Not sure why.
In
Seattle.
I'll talk into it then. Seattle has struggled at home this year. Arizona's coming off a bye, and that defense is really good. Everybody's going to talk about Kyler Murray and maybe like emerging as comeback player of the year or an MVP candidate, whatever. But the defense in Arizona is really good. And the same way Seattle struggled to beat San Francisco and then got it done last week, Murray can't beat the Seahawks. So I'm going to say it happens this week.
Yeah.
Cardinals are 6-4, first place in that division. Again, who at the beginning of the year, 11 weeks into the season, would have said the Cardinals are going to lead that division?
Yeah, there wouldn't be many.
So we're both on Arizona here to essentially win the game in Seattle. Sunday nighter on News Channel 13 and NBC. Eagles at the Rams. Rams are a team I just can't quit. It feels like, home dog. Maybe no Devontae Smith for Philadelphia, but the Eagles they're good. It would, I think, surprise me if we didn't get Lions Eagles NFC championship game at this point, the way it's going.
Yeah, I'm not, I mean, the Lions look like world beaters. Don't get in front of that train because they're just mashing people. The Eagles, I'm not as convinced about. I think obviously they have Saquon Barkley. He's running like maybe the best running back in the league, maybe not quite. But it's him and Derrick Henry. I'm not super convinced the way I am about the Lions with the Eagles, but I like the Eagles better than the Rams. So
okay. I'm just waiting for LA to put it together.
Yeah.
And
I mean, they've got too many pieces not to, but.
And the division is still there for them if they want to go try to take it.
We just talked about it.
Monday nighter. This is fun. Monday nighter. Disregard the top of your graphic there. Ravens and Chargers. John against Jim.
The Harbaugh Bowl.
We saw this when it was Niners-Ravens on a Thanksgiving night. Remember that? Years and years ago now. Oh, yeah. It was a big deal.
You remember a lot of things that I don't.
That was a big deal. And so now we get it here on a Monday nighter with a Chargers team. And really, I should have put the records in here because raise your hand. How many people knew the Chargers were now 7-3?
I didn't know that.
They just keep finding ways to win games. And again, the Ravens are like the Rams for me. Yeah. I can't quit them. Yeah. I keep waiting for them to really like assert themselves as what I think they are. And that might still be the second best team in the AFC.
Yeah, I'm not sure that I've picked the Chargers.
We haven't picked a lot of Chargers games this year.
But I don't pick them just in general. Like, I wouldn't say that I'm like, oh, yeah, I think they're going to win that game. So I'm a little bit more like you, except for I think it was the opposite for me. I wouldn't pick the Ravens, and they just kept winning, and now I haven't stopped picking the Ravens.
Well, it was the Bills for a while for you too, right? You're like, I don't trust the Bills.
Well, they would burn me because I would pick them, and then they wouldn't cover every time. They would win but not cover, and I'm like, oh, forget it.
Chargers 1, 2, 3, 4 straight wins. Most recently lost to the Cardinals.
Okay.
But they're 7-3. They're 7-3.
Wouldn't have known it.
Right. Pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, here's how it looks, everybody. We are different in one two games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I need a big week. It's been a little bit of a
I'm
struggle.
gonna have to root against the Giants.
Well, you're doing that anyway, right? And it's not the time
I
for the
never root against
conversation.
them.
I know you're just not
It's
going to be
hard.
upset if they
Yeah,
lose,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
You root for them to win, and then when they don't, you're kind of like, okay,
right.
that was actually
Yeah,
better for us.
Yeah, for sure.
Giants and Jets will be near the top of the draft again. Unbelievable. All right, let's take a time out here on Onorato and Miller. When we come back, Tye Kurtz, Albany FireWolves star, will join the show. That season and home opener now just about a week away. Hello, get ready for the NLL season as Ash will be back on the sidelines, and we're back right after this.
Fellows Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
I'm Jeff Ukelek. I'm owner of Bevs, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just gonna have that wow component when you come in, like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always gonna get the same experience when you shop at Bevs. At the end of the day, if you walk in your stores, you're gonna see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Albany House.
Back on Onorato and Miller, home opener, season opener. Fast approaching here for the FireWolves. It's a whiteout at MVP Arena against Saskatchewan Saturday. Am I saying that right? I hear you have to just kind of slur the end of it. Saskatchewan. My New Jersey accent sometimes messes that up. But November 30th, the home opener, the season opener for this FireWolves squad that went all the way to the NLL finals a year ago. Tye Kurtz is our guest. Tye, when you get the schedule and you see you've got to play a game 2 days after Thanksgiving, the day of all days to eat, what goes through your brain?
Yeah. Obviously, you want to celebrate Thanksgiving and be with family and stuff. Luckily enough for a lot of our guys, it's the American Thanksgiving, so a lot of us don't overly celebrate it. Yeah. My girlfriend and her family actually do celebrate it, so I'll be with them. But a lot of it will be, obviously preparing for the game. It's the first game of the year. It's a statement game for us in a way to get back on track here and get things rolling the right way. Obviously, it would be nice to enjoy the holidays, but bigger and better things come along, and sometimes you got to sacrifice some of the small things, right?
No doubt. Absolutely, man. I'm hearing a little bit in your tone, tell me if I'm right or wrong here, that like the loss in the finals last year is still hanging with you a little bit. Is it?
Yeah. I mean, personally, right, it's something, you're probably never going to forget. It stings. It's one of those losses that hurt more than anyone you've ever really had, right? That's like the pinnacle for us, for me as a younger kid, grew up watching the game and life dream is to be one of those guys at the end hosting that trophy, right? So, yeah, I mean, that'll stick with me forever, and I'll always, kind of reflect back on that and those experiences that I kind of learned throughout that whole season. But that one definitely stings. It'll continue to sting until we have an opportunity to make up for it. And it started the day after, right after that loss, of just preparing the right way for what's gonna hopefully shape up to be a good season this year.
Having just done it last year, what do you tell a rookie like Dyson to expect in his first professional season?
I mean, Dyson's a pro's pro. I haven't really I had never really gotten the opportunity to meet him. I played with him a couple times here and there throughout our young portion of our career, but he's a pro's pro, man. He knows what he's doing. He fits so seamlessly, and when you got a guy that talented with that type of recognition to his name, he knows how to handle himself, right? He's been doing it his whole life. He's had that label on him, that title on him, that generational style player for a long time, and he's been on the biggest stages. He's been in the biggest moments. and he's a confident player. He's a confident kid, as he should be. He's an unbelievable talent. So I'm not sure what advice I could give him. We've talked here and there, but he seems pretty dialed in, and things are going the right way and trending in the right direction. Just his ability to be able to come in and just be a part of an offense, right? And that was one thing last year that our rookies had to deal with, was coming in and just being a piece, right? This is kind of like the level where everyone comes and everyone's the best on their teams coming up, right? But you get to a level where everyone's good, and it's so relieving to just be able to come into a team where everyone's so talented and work so seamlessly together.
I think the question probably applies better to the outdoor game where you've got a longer shot clock, but I'll ask it anyway with the indoor game. Are there enough shots to go around with the offense the way you guys are built? I mean, you're stacked.
For some teams, maybe there's not, but for our team, I think there always will be. That's the beautiful thing with our offense and our locker room and our team in general, is just the selflessness is off the charts, right? Like, you look at all the guys we have, all the returning guys, some of the new faces, and those guys are all there for a reason, right? It's not, obviously it starts with their ability to play lacrosse, but a lot of it comes down to their character and how they kind of carry themselves and portray themselves. And our biggest thing is, being a selfless team, a selfless offense, if we're going to dial in more to the offense, and just know that it doesn't matter who scores. It doesn't matter who makes the play. Our goal at the end of the day is to look up at the scoreboard and see that we put the ball in the net more than the other team. Having the best goaltender and defense in the world, they make our job easy and take a lot of pressure off us. So we just got to go out there and do our thing as a unit. And I do get the whole, is there enough ball to go around? But and we've joked about it like here and there. But
Sure.
But yeah, to answer the question, yeah, there's more than enough room for everyone to kind of get their looks in, and everyone's so capable. There's not a guy on our team, offensively or defensively, that we don't trust shooting the ball, right? So, everyone's there for a reason, and everyone's there to kind of do their role and play selflessly.
Season opener is also the home opener to Whiteout, Saturday, November 30th, MVP Arena, FireWolves and Saskatchewan, coming off that run to the NLL Finals a year ago. You get into the building for less than $16 for this opener. AlbanyFireWolves.com, easiest way to get tickets. Tye, being a good player all your life, which I assume you have been, you've had expectations always kind of put on you. But this team going into last year had zero expectation, maybe some pressure to just be better than they were the year before you got there. But now that you've kind of set a new standard, there's an expectation, there's probably a pressure, there's some privilege in that. But how do you balance knowing, like, okay, now the league is ready for us, expecting more of us? How do we kind of deliver on that?
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny. Like, obviously, I understand the perspective going into last year from an outside view, right? Of, they had a struggle the year before, and coming in, no one really knew what to expect. I assume the expectations were low, but from an internal standpoint, the expectations are always the same. It's always to win, whether it's win every game, win every shift. I think you kind of got to aim small, win every shift, win every loose ball. And that kind of adds up and stacks up. You can't go into a year thinking, all right, we just got to win the championship this year, because I feel like you got to kind of build up to that, right? And look, it's a whole new year. I think part of this year, part of the challenge for us is going to be eliminating, putting last year in the rear view. Obviously, we had success last year, but I think what we can take from that success to help us this year is, kind of just understand we've been in those situations. We've got guys that have been to a championship. We've got a couple of guys that have won a championship for different teams, but we have kind of all the pieces aligned to start building those steps to get back to where we were. And, it starts by not looking past game one, I think, is the biggest thing. And going into game one, knowing that we have to start 1-0, and then from there on next week, go 1-0. But I think it's a good thing for us. We always put that internal pressure on ourselves, regardless of the outside noise. We make a pretty big deal of kind of blocking out the outside noise, blocking out all the stuff on social media, blocking out all the articles, blocking out all that external stuff that really has no effect on the result of our game, right? So for us to be able to go in, block everything out and start the season 1-0 is the goal right now. We're going to get better this weekend in training camp and get all the stuff dialed in, dot the I's, cross the T's, and then, hit the ground running for game one and get off to a good start. And that's the ultimate goal, is to get better every week and then peak at the right moment when playoffs hopefully and eventually come around.
2 home games in 3 weeks. The opener November 30th, December 14th as well. Again, albanyfirewolves.com to get your tickets. The home opener is a whiteout. Rock your Firewolves white, or anything you got that's white. First 3,000 fans in the building get a white rally towel. Does this thing go all the way down eventually? Are you allowed to? Does the girlfriend let you go all the way with the Fu Manchu?
Yeah, I honestly kind of, November comes once a year, and I took it as an opportunity. I don't know how long it's going to get. I hopefully it gets a little longer. We'll see. She doesn't mind it. She's okay with it, but we'll see how long it goes. Maybe we'll keep it for a bit of the season. Maybe we'll shave it off. I haven't really decided on it too much. I kind of just was messing around one day and thought it was kind of funny. So kind of thought it looked all right.
Specifically, no shave November, is it?
It started out as that. That was kind of the excuse to get it going. But we'll see how long it keeps going. I haven't really thought too far ahead on that perspective.
Are you superstitious? Like if you're playing really well, you keep it?
That's going to be part of it for sure. I'm going to use that to keep it going for as long as possible. But that comes down to team success. Maybe if we keep winning, if we start off hot and continue to go, maybe we'll keep it going. But we'll see. It's in the cards.
All right, here's an idea, because No Shave November, right? It's all about raising men's health awareness and that type of stuff. But if it's going so well and you want to keep the stash beyond November, you might still be living with it in May. I think we could do like a fan bids a certain amount of money to shave it off.
That's not a bad idea. Honestly, we got to talk to our PR team. Yeah. That's not a bad idea at all. Definitely put that in the works. I'm sure our guys are listening to this right now, and I'll be getting a text after this.
Right. Let's raise some money, man. Why not?
Why not?
Tye, thank you, dude. Ashley will be on the sidelines. I can't wait to be there just as a fan on the 30th. Having to work some of the games last year, was happy to do it. But, man, these games are so much fun to be at just as a fan. So I'll be there and can't wait for it, dude. Thank you for doing the show as always.
Hey, absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me on. It's always a blast. You guys are awesome. Hopefully we'll see you guys in a bunch more out on the sideline for game one.
The great thing about novices, no matter who you are, they're going to put all the detail in the world into your brand. I feel like they have been a big part of my success, making me feel comfortable. This is Harrison Butker, Super Bowl champion kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Claim your crown.
Fall in love with camping all over again with a new RV from Alpenhaus. As our attention turns to changing leaves and tailgate parties, be sure to stop by Alpenhaus to find the perfect RV for your fall camping trips. You'll love this Coachman Catalina for only $131 a month. And check out this Keystone Cougar Sport for only $358 a month. Whether you're snowbirds heading south or leaf peeping through New England, our outfitters will make sure you have everything you need for your autumn adventure. Shop online at alpenhausrv.com or come see us in Amsterdam and Saratoga.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
Back on Onorato and Miller, thanks to Tye Kurtz for hanging out with us this week. And again, I mean, that season opener just
I keep
a week
thinking
away here, right?
I'm like, oh my God, it's 2 days after Thanksgiving. Like I wake up on Black Friday and I'm like, all right.
Game prep.
Gotta study. I'll study Wednesday.
Sam wants to know. Wednesday show? Yes, Wednesday show. Thanksgiving on
Wednesday
Thursday.
Show next week.
Wednesday show for us next week for sure. Okay, on our way out here, a little bit anyway. What, something important?
No.
Okay. Kai and Anthony, how excited are you? Son of Carmelo commits to the Cuse. He's joining a 5-star forward in Sadiq White. ESPN has Kyan as a 4-star recruit, and he was a top 40 guy who played well on the New York or on the Nike EYBL circuit. Played Peach Jam, big AAU deal. Played well there, and he chooses the Cuse.
I think it's great. I think if for no other reason than to get Melo back in that building, and he's going to go to most games, to get him back in that building, to have him around supporting the program. I'm not all that excited about his kid coming back. He may not even start as a freshman.
Listed
which
at
is
6'5",
fine.
6'5", shoots it.
Yep, but that's a tough.
Yeah.
Those are some tough shoes to fill. Just having that last name, I think people are going to be disappointed that he's not his dad. Listen, there are not many people on this planet that played college basketball like his father. Not many people. He's one of the greatest college basketball players ever for the year that he was in it. And I say single-handedly the reason they won the title. I know they had Jerry McNamara. I know they had Hakeem Warwick, Queth Dwayne. I know he had a great cast. Without Carmelo, I'm not sure that team wins 2 games in the tournament. So he is the reason that Syracuse
I'm
has
not sure they get to the tournament.
Only basketball title, which I don't see changing anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm not sure they get. I'm with you. I'm not sure they get there. Cuse women beaten by Albany.
Saw that
on Wednesday.
It's a big
night.
win for Coach Mullen.
It's only the second Power 4 opponent Albany has beaten. The last one came in 2016
in the Dome.
You remember it then?
I was there.
Florida, right?
I was there with Coach Abe. Sharisha Richards in an NCAA tournament game. So that's a much bigger stage, but great win for the Danes. Yeah,
our producer at the station this morning said, it's not in the press release. It says they beat a Power 4 team in 2016. I said, had to be Florida at the Dome.
One of the very few games that I distinctly remember. I'm not good about remembering specific games. That one I remember for sure.
Gino Auriemma is now tops here, men's or women's.
Men's and women's, men's or women's. Yeah.
So Gino passes Tara Vanderveer, winningest coach in NCAA history. The winningest men's coach is Coach K. He's third on the all-time list. This is no surprise. Gino does it, and now what is his 39th year? So in the top 10, men's and women's, top 10 winningest coaches of all time, Gino is one of only 3 coaches to be on that list with fewer than 40 seasons coaching. Huh. So look, we know he wasn't compiling. He was dominating. And he had what many people considered almost an unfair advantage because all the best players wanted to go to UConn. But you have to build that type of program. And he did that. Happen. And here he is at 12-17, the winningest coach of all time.
And that's just it's so gaudy. And for me, all of it, I'm not sure which of those 3.
I think the 6 undefeated seasons.
I think so too.
Because not even a Tuesday night at Rutgers did you trip up.
Yeah, but knowing how good they were, it's you're not surprised they won. They went to 23 Final Fours. It's just all of it is so sick. But yeah, the 6 undefeated seasons for me, and winning streaks of 111 games and 90 something games. I remember thinking they haven't lost in 111 games. That's multiple seasons. Just not lose ever.
3+ seasons. Yeah.
Amazing.
Is he done soon?
I think so. And I know they keep referring to, is it Chris Daly, who is his top assistant? When does she get her chance? When does she get her chance? It's one of those that's she's been the top dog for a while and kind of the coach in waiting. How long do you wait knowing you're getting older, you want your chance, and then you want to retire? I would think so. I think he's done within a few years.
Yeah, and I've kind of thought that Daly maybe goes out when Gino goes out too. I don't know.
She probably wants to be a head coach.
Yeah, who could blame her? Sam wants to know thoughts on the mess in Philadelphia with the Sixers.
It's a mess.
2-12 sitting here on a Thursday night. Paul George is injured again. Going to miss at least 2 games. They're calling it a bone bruise. It looked like more of a hyperextension of the knee, but either way, it is an absolute mess. Tyrese Maxey comes back. He can't throw it in the ocean on Wednesday night. Joel Embiid continues to. It is an absolute and how many people across the country outside of Philadelphia are upset about this?
Nope. I think it's funny.
Yeah, very few.
I think it's funny.
We're closing in on the college football playoff, but before we even get to that, Ash, we'll have the Heisman Trophy presentation. Is this simply a two-way race, or is it even just a one-way race for you?
I think it's
By
a
the
two.
way, beginning of the
it's a two.
year, I have to go back and find that show. Beginning of the year, Ashley said, hey, it would be worth putting a little bit of money on Travis Hunter. He's plus.
I forget his odds. It was pretty.
I was going to say
absurd.
plus 1,200,
He
but it
was
might
like
have been more.
15th choice on the Heisman list. 15th or 20th choice on the Heisman list, which doesn't make any sense. He's a two-way guy. If you said to me, that's like saying, "Oh, I'm not going to put money on that'd be Shohei being 15 or 20 down the list." Like a two-way, he's the only two-way player in college football. How's he 15th on the list?
And now Vegas has him as a heavy favorite. Now, Genty is doing things that we haven't seen from a running back really since Barry Sanders at Oklahoma State in the 80s. So, but the point here is that it's been a long time since we've seen the numbers Genty is putting up, but we've never seen a player like Travis. I mean, look, unless people want to give me a hard time about like Jim Thorpe.
Yeah.
We've never seen a player like Travis Hunter playing the number of snaps he's going to log by the end of the year. The fact that he's maybe the best defensive back in college football, and he's easily one of the best receivers, not the best,
Right.
but one. I would put him third, maybe behind the kid at Missouri and the kid at Arizona, but he's going to be a top 5 pick. He's the best player in the sport, and the Heisman, again, everybody, can go to even a player on a losing team.
Yeah.
It's to the best player, not the most valuable.
Yep.
He's easily the best player.
And I know you said Shador could go number 1 overall.
Yeah.
But if like you're a team, and I know most teams that are picking number 1 overall don't have a quarterback, and that's the problem. Like if I'm another team, I am so pumped to get Travis Hunter, and I'm taking him. I'll take a quarterback later.
Okay. Where would you play him, receiver or corner? That's going to be the
know.
great debate here
I know.
is where do you draft him?
He's
Because what is he?
Yeah. The problem is like you don't win games as a corner. I don't think it's like as much of a calculated stat. I know it's his fault. I don't have any betting apps. I don't spend my money on betting. I just ask Chris to do it. You won't see the wins on the defensive side of the ball. You'll see them more on the offensive side of the ball. But I think he's probably a better defender than he is, like a better DB than he is a wide receiver.
I think so too.
Maybe you play him some at both. I would say you're not going to play every snap, but we'll play every snap on defense, and then we'll throw you in every once in a while on offense.
Maybe I'm asking the wrong question. Maybe the question is, what position will Travis Hunter choose?
Yeah, because
right, instead of what position will the team? Because Hunter might, as you're saying all these things,
he might say, "I want to be a DB."
No, I think you
Or I
might say I
wanna
want to be a
wide
receiver. Look at
and
the
people don't want
contracts
him.
receivers
Yeah.
are getting, right?
Yeah.
Well, a team will say there will be a
Yeah.
team in the top 5 that says, okay, we'll take him as a receiver.
Mhm.
But this will become the interesting conversation because he can't do both of the NFL. Just can't. It would be fun to see him try.
Yeah, every once in a while, I think that becomes fun because it becomes like a little stunt, like trick plays, and you throw him in, and now somebody's got to match up against him as a wide receiver.
Like big
Good
third,
luck.
like big third
Yeah,
down.
good luck.
Put him on the field to try to get a stop.
Or throw him out there to
But he could be
take people away from
the
like
Charles Woodson, who is a DB, and then he'd be just put him in some offensive packages or whatever. I don't know. It's fun. It's gonna be a fun college football weekend. Everyone enjoy it.